Hello. From Axiom Space, I'm Alexis DeJarnette. Welcome to the first press conference with the Axiom Mission 4 crew. AX-4 will be the fourth commercial astronaut mission to the International Space Station. Leading this mission is Axiom Space Commander Peggy Whitson. AX-4 will be her fifth mission to the International Space Station and second time commanding a commercial astronaut mission. Joining her are first-time astronauts from 3 countries. From the Indian Space Research Organization, AX-4 pilot Shubhanshu Shukla. Representing Poland, ESA project astronaut Sławosz Uznański-Wiśniewski. And from the Hungarian to Orbit program, Tibor Kapu. Both Tibor and Sławosz are the AX-4 mission specialists. AX-4 marks a return to human spaceflight for India, Poland, and Hungary. The last time these nations flew was more than 40 years ago, and for the first time, they will conduct a mission aboard the International Space Station. Over the past 6 months, Axiom Space has been training and preparing the AX-4 crew for this mission, with the support from NASA, SpaceX, and international partners. The crew will launch no earlier than spring 2025 from Florida, and will spend up to 14 days conducting science, tech demos, and outreach activities on board the space station. We'll now begin with opening remarks from Commander Peggy Whitson. Commander, over to you.
Thank you, Alexis. I'm really honored to command the 4th Axiom Space mission to the International Space Station. It seems like a dream to me that in 3 years, Axiom Space has already conducted 3 missions to the ISS National Laboratory. So being a part of the 4th mission is really a bit surreal. It has been more than 40 years since the first person from India, Poland, and Hungary has been to space. And through this commercial space opportunity, we are accelerating the national space programs in each of these 3 countries and creating new pathways for technological advancements. In addition, I'm sure this crew is going to be inspiring a whole new generation of young people. So in short, the Axiom Mission 4 is realizing the return to space for India, Poland, and Hungary. Of course, the 2 weeks we have planned on board the International Space Station will be packed with each government's science and technology programs, some of which you'll hear the crew will share with you today. I personally am looking forward to Axiom Space's science and technology demos as well. In particular, one study is a diabetes pathfinder sponsored by Burgil Holdings that will one day enable insulin-dependent astronauts to fly in space. The crew has been training together since August of last year, learning the systems for the International Space Station and Dragon spacecraft, as well as how to respond and address medical and spacecraft emergencies. During this time, I've also been doing my best to impart some of my almost 40 years worth of space and science experience to these guys. One of my major objectives is to develop this diverse group into a high-performing team, and I can guarantee you we're well on our way to that goal. I am really excited to introduce you to the AX-4 crew. First up is Shubhanshu Shukla. Shuks is his call sign. He's from India. A fighter pilot for 15 years, he was selected as one of 4 Indian astronauts in 2020. I really admire his operational prowess and technical knowledge of spaceflight. In fact, if you have any questions about the J2000 coordinate system or quaternions, he's the guy to ask. Next up is Sławosz Uznański-Wiśniewski. His name is a mouthful, so we quickly gave him the call sign Sław. He is an ESA project astronaut representing Poland. His doctoral work on radiation-tolerant designs for space came in handy in his work at CERN as the engineer in charge of the Large Hadron Collider. If you're thinking he's a nerd, trust me, you don't know the half of it. Last but not least is Tibor Kapu. He's a mechanical engineer who was selected as an astronaut for the Hungarian to Orbit or HUNAR program in May of last year. In addition to engineering skills that range from microscopes to automobiles, Tibor is a huge space buff. He knows history, people, and vehicles. And if you are not motivated about spaceflight before you meet him, you will definitely be a fan afterwards. Before handing it over to each of the crew for additional comments, I wanted to share our AX-4 mission patch. As a group, we decided that the overarching ethos would be spaces for everyone. The 4 ascending lines represent the view from a window above of our planet, but also the 4 countries represented by the crew ascending from the Earth to work on the ISS for a common goal. The 7 stars represent the inclusivity of all continents of the Earth. And finally, the gem shape symbolizes how precious humanity is and how we share responsibility to protect and cherish our planet. We hope you enjoy the patch as much as we do. And now for the stars of our show. Today, the crew. First up, Shuks.
Thank you, Peggy. I think that was a very interesting description of my abilities. Namaste. I am Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, Shuks, from India, and I am the mission pilot for Axiom 4. The first Indian astronaut, Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, traveled to space in 1984. I was born in 1985. Consequently, I grew up reading about him in textbooks and listening to his stories from space. I was deeply, deeply impressed by him. However, the thought of becoming an astronaut myself never really took root because India did not have an active human spaceflight program back then. Another impressionable thing that I witnessed was an air show when I was in grade 6. I remember being shaken by a sneaking fighter jet that came up from behind us extremely low and pulled up towards the sky, and I lost it in a matter of a few seconds. This was nothing like anything I had ever seen before, and I left the air show thoroughly impressed. So, when the opportunity presented itself for me to join the armed forces, I knew I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I joined the Indian Air Force in June of 2006 as a commissioned officer. I also graduated from the Indian Air Force Test Pilot School as a test pilot in 2018, which uniquely qualified me to be considered for the selection of the first Indian astronauts for the mission Gaganyaan. If I have to pick one feeling that would most aptly describe my entire journey, it would be gratitude. I am thankful to each and every individual and every organization that I have been a part of, for I believe that every one of them have influenced me in one way or the other and are responsible for me being here today. I specifically want to thank the Indian government and the Indian Space Research Organization for making Axiom 4 a reality. Axiom 4 mission is very important for India, and it comes at a very opportune time. On 15th August 2018, Honorable Prime Minister of India announced that a son or daughter of the country would fly to space soon. And as a result, mission Gaganyaan was born. Currently, a lot of people are working very hard to make that dream a reality. I am confident that the lessons learned during Axiom 4 mission are going to prove invaluable for our journey back home. Witnessing an end-to-end execution of a human spaceflight mission is going to provide us key insights and knowledge that will help us fill the gaps that we may have stumbled upon in our endeavor. While we are on the station for 2 weeks, we will be performing a lot of scientific experiments and conducting several outreach events. I know that right now, an entire team is working to ensure that every minute we spend on the station is scheduled for activities to optimize our time on the station. I endeavor to train well and execute this mission with utmost professionalism. I also hope to ignite the curiosity of an entire generation in my country through my mission and drive the innovation that will make many such projects possible for us in the future. Because of the team that I have sitting with me on this table, I am extremely confident that I shall be able to do so. I also have a personal agenda of capturing my experience on board this station through pictures and videos so that I can share these with all the Bharatvasis back home. I want them to share this thrilling experience through my eyes. For I truly believe that even though I, as an individual, am traveling to space, this is the journey of 1.4 billion people. And with this, I will now pass it over to my colleague and dear friend Swav to share his story with you.
Thank you, Shuks. And thank you, Peggy, for introductions. My name is Sławosz Uznański-Wiśniewski, callsign Swav, a project astronaut from ESA and Axiom 4 mission specialist. For Poland, the first spaceflight took place over 47 years ago, in 1978, as the 4th nation to go to space. I was born in the 80s, like Shuks. And this first flight became a real symbol of pride in Poland. Back then, being an astronaut seemed like an unattainable dream for a small boy growing in a country behind the Iron Curtain. Despite that, space was always very close to my heart. I was born the 12th of April, on the anniversary of Gagarin's first flight to space. For as long as I can remember, every year for my birthday, my mom was always wishing me a happy cosmonaut day. I was always interested in how the world works around us. This childhood curiosity sometimes drove everyone crazy, but I kept it with me until today, both as an engineer as well as a mountaineer. In the mountains, curiosity helped me to go further, higher, and see with my own eyes how the world looks from the next peak. Throughout my life, curiosity drove me to leaving my hometown, studying in France, living in Switzerland, working on my PhD in space system design, climbing the Himalayas, designing the biggest science machines on Earth, but I was always having my childhood dream in the back of my head. It was a path of waiting that was full of moments of doubt. But for the first time in history, the chance for Polish citizens opened up with the ESA selection for astronauts in 2022. Today, I represent Poland, but also I represent a generation of Polish people. Thousands of scientists, educators, engineers who have been working for years to be able to contribute to technology and science at a global level. The change in technology and normalization of access to space is not only for the biggest agencies anymore. Space is for everyone. Polish science complement for Axiom 4 ranges from human physiology and psychology through biotechnology, biology, to engineering and physics. Poland is also a bigger partner at ESA than ever before. I feel very lucky and very privileged to be sitting here with such an amazing team. And what is personally really important to me, today, I have a chance to see the same curiosity as mine in the eyes of younger colleagues, students and kids when they talk about space back home. So I hope their dreams don't seem so unattainable anymore. Axiom 4 is just the beginning. And with that, I would like to pass my word to my colleague from the team, Tibor Kapu.
Thank you, Słav. Jó napot kívánok mindenkinek. Hello, my name is Tibor Kapu. I am a mechanical engineer from Hungary. Growing up in a far east part of my country, I always had two dreams. First, I wanted to fly fighter jets, which is something that I'm always afraid is in front of Shuks. But my parents did their very best and what they could to satisfy my curiosity. They brought me to air shows as Shuks and brought all the fighter jet magazines of the time. Secondly, watching the Olympics together with my mom was always a strong connection and a strong link between us. Seeing our athletes performing on the highest levels, being extremely proud, and cheering to them like a family member, I've always wanted to be someone who has his own jersey with my own name and my own flag on it, representing my country on the biggest stage alongside with my team. Well, I've been playing basketball for more than 20 years of my life purely as a hobby. I'm not so bad, but all of my friends could tell you that, for example, in our national sport, soccer, I'm really, really not good at. So I had to pivot from these dreams. I became a mechanical engineer like my dad, because I always like to, build and create things. He's more of a fixer. He can fix everything at home as long as it has any moving parts in it. And because of that, he instantly became a role model for me. I believe by sitting here today at this table, I'm combining my engineering background with my ambitions and passions, connecting things that I got from both my mom and dad. Making my parents proud will always be one of my biggest achievements. Hungary is a small country with a big history and big dreams. And Hungarian is a language spoken by very few people, but many talents. That's the reason we decided to initiate a space program in 2021 to select and prepare a Hungarian to conduct Hungarian research on board the ISS. In our program, we build on our strengths and space heritage, like dosimetry, space nutrition, life sciences, and human biology. But we also made an open call, asking all the universities, companies, and research groups who might be interested, what science would you do in space? We collected dozens of experiments from all over the country, which I am extremely proud of. Our goal with the program is to gain our foothold in the space community, to contribute to the global space industry and academia in all the ways we can, and to sit at the same table with the giants, with the bigger players. Thanks to this mission and our international partners, here we are sitting at this table. I believe in order to achieve those goals, a country needs brain power as the most important resource, and let me tell you, that's something that we have in Hungary. As an astronaut, it is one of the biggest responsibilities to carry out the research that's a result of this brain power, to be the arms and the eyes of the accomplished researchers. My message to them, not a lot of people can say that their work is visible from the stars, but you guys can. I'm not flying by myself, I'm bringing your dreams too. The other people who I'm flying with are sitting next to me. Through the past months, I had the privilege to join a crew that is all about commitment, trust, knowledge, and fun. I have no doubt that the four of us, together with a capable and hard-working team behind us, are about to achieve incredible things. I've learned that the team that has joy is a team that is healthy. And boy, we are fit as a fiddle. The other responsibility is about future researchers. It is my personal motivation and is to inspire younger generations to reach their goals as I was inspired by my parents. By showing them that through hard work, determination, perseverance, and by putting a little faith in yourself, you can achieve your dreams and make many people proud along the road. Finally, I would like to express my eternal gratitude towards my country. I am honored to have this opportunity of a lifetime. Couldn't be more proud to represent my nation on this stage, having my own soccer jersey with my name and flag on it, and my team sitting next to me, here at this table. And with that, I will pass it over to Alexis.
And now we'll open the floor to questions from reporters. If you have a question, please use the raise your hand feature or submit your questions in the chat. If you are joining on your phone, please press *6 to unmute yourself when called on. Please state your name, outlet, and at whom your question is directed. Let's begin. All right, we will start with Jeff Faust.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Jeff Faust of Space News. Question for Peggy. You mentioned this is the fourth Axiom mission to the space station. I'm curious what sort of lessons learned from the previous three, in particular your flight on AX2, that you're applying to this mission to sort of maximize the science and work you're able to do on station. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. It's always great to hear from you. And we have spent a lot of time learning from our previous steps, and we've modified training to optimize for this mission. Over the 3 missions so far, we've had over 8 countries plus the European Space Agency. We're adding 3 more countries this time around. And obviously a 4th mission, and we're going to have even more than 75 outreach and media events to add on to that previous record. And we're really looking forward to this mission. I think from a training perspective, we have continually honed and changed our training. We want to optimize that, and I feel like if we're not changing the training as we go along, we're not adapting and supporting our objectives. For us, obviously, those objectives, that training that we do, not only with the crew, but with all our ground teams, is so important for our end goal, which is Axiom Station, which we hope to have as free flyer by no later than 2028. So we're really looking forward to all those contributions that will seamlessly put us into Axiom Station as a full up and functional vehicle at that time.
Next in line is Pallava Bagla.
Namaskar and a grand welcome to the team from India. My name is Pallava Bagla. I'm the science editor at New Delhi Television. 2 questions, one for Group Captain Shukla. Group Captain Shukla, are you ready for the ride in near zero gravity? Have you prepared hard? What will be the experiments you do? And will you do some yoga in space like your idol Rakesh Sharma did in 1984? And also, a little bit you should speak in Hindi. And the second question is for astronaut Peggy Whitson. First of all, congrats on the entry into the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
What is your biggest challenge for working with such a diverse crew who are all first-timers? Do they listen to you at all?
All right, we'll start with you,
Yes.
Shucks.
Okay. Namaskar, Bagla ji. Thank you for your question. It is great to hear from you. And to your first part, I am really excited to go into the microgravity and experience the space flight on my own. And the tempo for the mission has been building up each month. And I think we are at a stage wherein all the pieces are kind of coming together. And I'm extremely excited to see how this unfolds in the coming months and for the actual space flight as well. The second part of your question was regarding the training. We have been training for the past 4 and 5 months, and I think that we are at a stage now that we understand the entire ConOps, the concept of operations, and going forward from here, it would mostly be repetition of the things that we have done. So we are really ready, and we are confident in our abilities to execute this mission successfully. As for your third question about yoga, yes, that now that you have said, so I would probably demonstrate a few poses of yoga while we are up on the station. But a more important aspect is that we need to practice that while we are on ground so that we have a healthy body which can house a healthy mind and allows us to execute this mission in our full spirits, truly. And just to add on to your request, I would say something in Hindi. And आपके प्रश्नों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और मैं बहुत उत्साहित हूँ ये जो मिशन मेरे आगे आ रहा है कुछ महीनों में और मुझे लगता है जिस प्रकार की ट्रेनिंग हमने अभी तक की है अब मैं अपनी क्षमताओं में बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट हूँ और मुझे लगता है कि ये मिशन बहुत ही अच्छी तरह से हम इसे उपलब्ध कर पाएंगे धन्यवाद So just for the audience, I just repeated what I said in English back in Hindi for the folks back home.
That's great.
Thank you.
And I also thank you for your questions. These guys are very intelligent men, so they absolutely listen to me. But I think it is an interesting challenge to bring a diverse group of different countries together. I had that opportunity on the previous Axiom mission, and even on the NASA missions, we work as a very international team. And so but that's what I love to do. I love to bring people together and to build a team. And so that's kind of my main goal of this mission is to build that elite team. And I think I've got it here.
All right, next in line is Greg Jasinski.
I would like to start from congratulating Peggy Whitson too on her nomination to the U.S. Astronaut Hall of Fame and asking if she expects to be the first person to be in orbit during the ceremony. The second question, which part of the crew commander's mission is more important and difficult, training the crew on the ground or working on orbit?
Okay, well, thank you so much for congratulating me. It's obviously a very special award. Spaceflight's pretty dynamic, though, so I won't say that I'm going to be the first one to get the award while on orbit. But we can keep our fingers crossed. That's about all we can do at this point. And in terms of the training, whether it's more difficult on the ground or on orbit, I try and impart as much knowledge as I can about our what it is like to be in space while we're training. But I think learning it on the ground makes it much easier when we get to orbit. And so I'm quite confident these guys will live up to the challenge.
All right. If you wouldn't mind dropping your remaining questions in the chat, and we're going to move on to the next person. We have Robert Perlman.
Hi, can you hear me? Great. I'm going to use your call signs because I would be embarrassed to butcher your names. But for Shubhanshu and Tibor, as we heard, your mission is being described as a return to human spaceflight for each of your home countries. Other than the yoga that was just mentioned, are you doing or flying anything to connect your individual experiences to those of your respective nations' first citizens in space? And did you have a chance to meet or get to know, respectively, Rakesh Sharma, the late Mirosław Hermaszewski, and Bertalan Farkas?
Okay. Thank you, Robert, I guess. Thank you, Robert, for your question. We in India we were already on a path of pursuing the human spaceflight mission called Mission Gaganyaan, and the first Indian astronaut, Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, was actively involved in that process with us, right from the process of astronaut selection and to the modalities of finalizing what kind of training we need to do and what kind of setup we need to have. So I would say that he is really intertwined in the proceedings of the human spaceflight mission that we were already executing. And we regularly keep in touch, and he is kind of a mentor for me who is advising me on a lot of things of what to expect, how to prepare for this particular mission. As far as your question of if I'm doing something or flying something from him, I would like to keep that a secret because I intend it to be a surprise for him. So I would rather not say it on the camera. But I can tell you, yes, there would be something once the mission ends. Thank you.
Hi, Robert. Thanks a lot for the question. I can say a similar thing. It feels like a space community. It's really a family, like this crew here, but as well with other astronauts. With Mirosław Hermaszewski, he unfortunately died, but he saw my selection, and I have a special connection with him. I know he supported me a lot during my selection process. He was commenting on live the selection in the television, and he was the first person to call me back the morning after the selection to congratulate me. So I really feel a big connection with him and with his spaceflight. I can say it will not be a surprise for him, unfortunately, anymore, but I will take a Polish flag that he had on his flight suit when he was flying in space in 1978. And that is a big honor for me to do so. I'm very happy to take the relay and continue the Polish involvement in the human exploration, human space flight programs. And I hope I'm not the last one, and this journey will be for many decades to come.
Thank you, Robert, for your question. I can also say that my experience with Bertalan Farkas, or Berti, how we call him at home, is very similar than what you have with Rakesh Shuks. He has been part of the Honor selection and preparation. We had a quite long selection, which took 14 months, and then a basic training, which took another 14 months. And he was there for the whole time with us, overseeing the whole basic training with the love of a grandpa, to be honest. He also gave extremely good advices, also to us and also to me. One of those was that we should always be patient. That's, I think, a big part of a spaceflight for sure. And to approach any challenge that we face with a big smile on our faces. I think we are doing good. When I arrived to Houston, his first question was actually that how the crew is doing. He's closely watching us. I hope he will be there at launch date as well, on launch day. I am actually flying things with me which are connected, to his mission. Some of those are also surprises, which I will not say on camera as well. But we do have a photo of us, him, me, and my backup Gyula, which I'm flying for sure. As you know, we have quite big weight and volume limitations when it comes to spaceflight. I'm also flying the good advices that he gave me. I'm also flying a Hungarian flag. That's a flag that I got from my hometown, and which is very special for me because actually we are from the same region, Berti and me. So, apart from the surprises, I would tell these. Thank you for the question.
All right, and thank you so much. We now have Jistanu Nair.
Thank you. This is Jishnu Nair with the Houston Business Journal based here in Houston, Texas. Thanks all for doing this and echoing previous congratulations to Peggy Whitson for her nomination. I have a couple questions, and the first will probably be most relevant to Commander Whitson, but of course, feel free to chime in. So the first thing I wanted to ask, and you kind of alluded to it before about the developments in astronaut training over the course of these AX missions. What would you say are kind of the biggest lessons in sort of astronaut training, human habitation that Axiom Space as a company has picked up, given that you are one of the few private companies that are training astronauts for regular missions?
Right. I think the biggest lesson that we've learned is that traditionally we've gone in the last 25 years gone to long duration mission thought process for developing missions. And so for Axiom Space, actually going back more to a shuttle era style of, planning for the specifics of the mission as opposed to more generic training to solve unknown problems that you might have during a long duration mission has been really key for us. And so our mission is focused on what it is we absolutely need to know, from the emergency stuff as well as all the systems and the hardware we're going to be working with specifically for the experiments. And so that focus, I think, makes us much more efficient. Also, there's lots of small nuances of things that we feel just don't end up being relevant. So we've deleted some of those and then added in, from an Axiom perspective, some things that we think are much more beneficial for unpacking and packing vehicles and just optimizing for crew knowledge about generic flight in space. So I think we're doing very well at that.
Gotcha. And then to follow up on that, obviously Axiom has flown several missions with astronauts from different countries, many of them also first timers. But from Axiom's collaboration with the different space agencies and the research that they bring, what are some lessons that Axiom might not have learned if it had stayed, I guess, primarily with the U.S. focused or NASA focused type of training?
Well, I think that adaptability and flexibility that's required to optimize for different countries' priorities has been very important for us. We need to have that flexibility to adapt, and I think that'll make us successful in the future on Axiom Station when we are hosting many different countries from all over the world. And so it's been an important learning process for us, working with these different countries and developing processes that help us optimize and minimize the time required to prepare for those missions. So I think it's been a great system for us.
Gotcha. The last thing I wanted to ask today is a two-parter. First part is probably most relevant to you, Peggy, as the only one on this mission who's been to the ISS before. Obviously, you kind of touched on it earlier, but we are approaching the retirement of ISS as a station and moving on to different types of commercial concepts. So kind of from a personal standpoint, how does it feel to be kind of among the last astronauts that will be making, these types of flights? Does it feel different than to, your previous missions with Axiom or NASA?
Well, I guess you never say never. I left NASA not ever expecting to fly in space again, and here commercial space industry and Axiom Space has allowed me that opportunity in just a few years from my retirement from NASA. So things are changing very quickly in space. So never say never is one thing I would say about never going back to the station or maybe not having that opportunity. But at the same time, the ISS National Laboratory is an amazing place with amazing facility and allows some incredible research to be done. And so that actually is really important to me. To have that opportunity and keep that running as long as possible, and then to move into Axiom Station ready to go up and running the same way. So it's very exciting to be a part of this change that's going on, and I'll be sad to see it go.
And then the last and second part, thank you for that answer, is touching on the move to Axiom Station or other private commercial stations. From all of your perspectives, in the way you've trained for this mission and the types of experiments that you're planning to conduct, what do you think are some important things for developers of these space stations to keep in mind from, the astronaut, the researcher, the human perspective when we think about a future where people can live and work in space for extended periods of time?
Well, I guess I'll start, but from my perspective, having a lot of flight experience, it's been great for me to be able to share with the engineers who are working on Axiom Station, things that are important to a crew from a crew perspective. But it's also fun to be able to take their new ideas and say, yeah, that's a great one, or maybe this one would work better if you do something slightly different because in space this happens. So it's nice to be able to use my experience to explain that to folks and help them advance more quickly.
I think I would probably build upon that what Peggy has said. We have kind of a saying when we do the test pilot course, and we go in as the pilots, and there are engineers who come in for the course as flight engineers. And then in the first briefing that is conducted, it is said to us that by the time both of you complete the course, we want you to be half pilots and half engineers, and not just full pilots and full engineers, because it has to be a fusion. It is very, very interesting to understand the ideas from the other side, or the others, speak the same language, so that you can communicate more effectively and be more efficient in evolving a design together. So I think that is a great point, Peggy. Yeah.
Yeah, I would add to what Shukes and Peggy already said. Technology is changing much faster than in the past, and new opportunities are opening up thanks to this very fast integration. So what happens is, I find it amazing that for Poland is building science for the International Space Station for the first time. And it was a tremendous interest in Poland to build that science. And yet it is possible today to build science and scientific experiment within a year, together with hardware, qualification, validation, integration, and flying to space for potential execution, and hopefully, bringing the best results of science back to Earth. And we all hope here that our science is going to contribute to our countries, the knowledge and progress, technological progress. And I find it fascinating how this landscape changed with opening space up to commercial applications in 2014, and how this journey has been for the past 10 years. And we can only imagine where we are going to be in the next 10 years.
Exactly. I think you guys said it all. I'm extremely excited to, bring our science as well to the International Space Station. It has been an opportunity, a great opportunity for us. In 10 years before, it wasn't like that. We couldn't initiate a Hunar program because the landscape was just not right for that. And maybe 10 years later, it would be already late if we want to be great players and big players sitting at a table. So an opportunity for us, our universities and research groups who might be interested to develop science to the International Space Station, that also opened up for us for the first time. Actually, we did have a dosimeter called Pilla, which is our huge space heritage, but this is definitely accelerating our access to space, and I really hope that the next 10 years will be even more exciting than this.
All right. We'll take a question from the chat. This one's for Tibor from Balazs Radi from Index News. What impact do you hope your mission will have on Hungary's space ambitions? What mission would you send to the Hungarians?
Thank you for the question. I think Hunor will be a great impact on our nation. First, I would like to say that I think this is a re-entry to Hungary, for Hungary to space. We have been there. We have a space heritage. Zoltán Baj was the one who did a moon radar experiment many, many years ago. And then we had Theodor von Karman, who had the pioneering work in aerospace engineering. And then, of course, we had Farkas Bertalan, my great friend Berci, who was flying for the first time in 1980 as a Hungarian to space. He brought the Pilla dosimeter with him, which has been ever since then in space on various space stations and spacecrafts as well. I think re-entering this stage is a huge thing for us. We will accelerate Hungarian science and research. Our missions, I think I can speak for other guys as well, are designed to spark excitement in younger generations. It is my personal motivation to inspire them. I think STEM sector is one sector which we can always improve in and just convince more and more kids to work in that sector. If they can also be astronauts, I will be even more happy. My message for them and for anyone in Hungary, that thank you for all your support. it has been a great pleasure and honor to be an astronaut so far, but I think this journey will definitely continue.
All right. And we'll now pass it over to Marcia Dunn.
Tibor, are you taking tantrics up? I understand once upon a time you were very good at that game. And for all three gentlemen, aside from what you've already mentioned, what items of special value to you are you taking up to honor your countries and heritage, including food, please? Any special food specialties? Thank you.
I was very surprised on this question. I was actually, thank you, but I'm still good at tantrics, I think. It's a logical game, and I really love it. For guys who doesn't really know or who don't know what it's about hexagonal tiles, which are small tiles, and because we have the weight limitations and volume limitations, I can actually bring one tile. So I'm planning to do that, and thank you. Thank you for the question.
Maybe I can follow up on the food question. So the other part, food is for us. It's quite important. I have this experience in the mountains where the food is scarce and quite difficult as well, and it brings a certain psychological comfort. When I started at ESA and I was waiting to start the training with Axiom, and this wait was longer and longer, I heard about the food program that I could potentially work on. And I was working with a small Polish company, this is a family business, to bring certain food products to the International Space Station. Today I can say that we will take for the first time Polish pierogis to space. I don't know if you guys all know what pierogis are. It's a let's say a dough and the stuffing inside, and let's say Polish dumplings. For every Polish people, pierogis is something that you eat for Christmas, you eat with families, and you share with the loved ones. And that was a tremendous journey to actually work on that project, because it's not only like cooking food, but it is also having this technological process behind how to dry freeze it, how to remove moisture from the stuffing through the dough. And the first batches were exploding when we tried to dry freeze them. And we were working for a couple of weeks, and the company mastered the process. And I can proudly say that we will try these pierogis on space station, and I'll try to share with the team and also the crew on the International Space Station if we will have enough.
That is great. And hello, and thank you for your question. So we do have certain allowance that we can carry a few items to the International Space Station, and we can decide on some personal items as well as some items that you want to take for your country. And what has been interesting for us is that ISRO has came up with a unique idea. As you understand, that India is a big country with different regions which have their own cultures and very rich history. So they came up with this unique idea, and they consulted a university wherein these students were given tasks to come up with these ideas from each and every region which represent these various different regions. And I'm not at liberty to give out all the information right now, but I can assure you that we will have a lot of stuff that will represent the regions in particular and India in general, which I will be taking up to the station. That would be honoring my country.
Well, thank you. I love pierogies. I've got lots of Polish heritage. Do you just add water then to the pouches in space? Is that all you'll need to do? I'm assuming. And for the other two, any Indian or Hungarian foods going up?
I will take that over. Thank you. We are planning to fly Hungarian food as well. I was quite surprised that we have already experienced flying Hungarian, space food. One of the nicest traditions of ISS when a new crew is coming in is that we surprise the crew up there with our, nation's own food. We are planning to do that. I'm also not at liberty to share more, unfortunately. You guys will love it for sure. And let me just add on that during the past 6 months, we had, such an incredible experience with these guys. And tasting pierogi and panipuri, the specials, especially how Shuks makes it, was one of the best experiences.
And to answer that question, that yes, I have been trying a few things with the crew here, and we've been trying Indian food a lot, and it was it was and still is an endeavor from my side to carry some Indian food to the station. We do have the material. The process is still on. I really do not know whether it will make it, but I will keep trying till the end. So let's see if some Indian food reaches the station when we fly.
Thanks so much. Good luck.
Yeah, and to finish off on your question with pierogis, it's exactly how you maybe cook it on the ground, adding water and putting pierogis in boiling water. In the station, you cannot do it, but we have a water dispenser at a certain temperature with a pouch that you fill in pierogis with this water, and then we'll open the pouch and eat them. So I hope they will be as good as here on the ground, but let's see.
Thanks so much.
And next up is Herbert Kijek.
First question to Peggy. You have spent over 670 days in space. This is yet another mission for you. Are you excited about it, or does it feel like just another day at the office?
Space doesn't get old, and I am pretty addicted to being there, so I'm really looking forward to it as always. What's really neat about flying with three newbies is I get to relive the experience of having the first time on their faces and in their eyes, so I look forward to it.
And question to Sławosz. What impact could your mission have on the development of science in Poland, but also for Polish economy, based on previous mission like Marcus Vance? Do you see that such journeys have a significant influence?
Hi, Hubert. Cześć, Hubert. It's nice to hear your voice, and thanks for the question. I think it is very difficult to say how big the impact is going to be in the future, and I think we can only speculate and imagine. But to be honest, the direct impact is to science, our institutes, our companies building space technologies. We saw with Marcus's mission, which was executed extremely fast. It was in record speed from the selection to the International Space Station. Marcus was on the ISS 14 months post-selection, which is amazing. Sweden had an amazing outreach program. Marcus took some Swedish science and executed a lot of ESA science. Poland had a bit more time. We had a selection for experiments. There were 65 proposals that were submitted to the European Space Agency. There is 13 contracts as of today. I hope everyone will make it to the manifest and I'll be able to execute this science. And so this is a direct return. On the other hand, I think the biggest return that is unmeasurable as of today is really an inspiration of young generations. Poland has been struggling a bit with the brain drain, like talented people going abroad and having beautiful careers, but we can allocate this talent back in the country. And I am sure that this is the beginning with the Axiom 4 station Axiom 4 mission to be able to build companies, build the sector, not only experiments, but develop a real branch of industry back in Poland that will contribute on the European scale and global scale today with American partners, but as well with the European Space Agency all together to push Europe's position in the global space stack forward.
Thank you very much.
And next up, we have Jackie Waddles.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for taking my question and extending another congratulations to Peggy. So first, just a housekeeping question, curious to which Crew Dragon capsule you're assigned. And you may have to forgive me for this next question, but Commander Whitson, I was curious because there's been recent research about space adaptation syndrome and better understanding it and perhaps preventing it. I was curious, with all of your spaceflight experience, have you experienced space adaptation syndrome and how might it have evolved for you over your many space flights? And how have you prepared your crew for potentially dealing with it on such a relatively short mission? Thanks so much.
Well, the space adaptation syndrome, I believe it's in the literature of about 35 to 50% of people experience from serious to minimal effects of feeling just not normal when they first arrive to space. And I think feeling not normal is pretty consistent because you're in this whole new environment that just doesn't follow the rules that you've been raised in. And so I anticipate there will be an adaptation period for everyone, and that's true of all astronauts that go into space. We haven't been able to, right at this point, predict who will have problems or who won't have problems. For me, I was lucky. I've had relatively minimal issues going into space, but returning home for me is the hard part. I find that gravity is a lot more difficult to adapt to than the lack of gravity. So it takes a little bit longer after the flight to readapt and get my body convinced that gravity is actually okay.
Gotcha. And yeah, sorry, just one quick follow-up. Which Crew Dragon capsule are you all flying on?
I don't think that's been determined yet. There's still some discussion. So we're flexible. We'll be ready for anyone.
Thanks so much.
All right. We're going to take another question from the chat. This one is from Chetan Kumar from the Times of India. This one's for Shuks. How different has training with Axiom Space been for you and Group Captain Nair? Can you elaborate on some specifics that could help India's own space mission when you return?
Thank you, Chetan, for your question. The training here, I have some operational experience with me, and I have been under training. I like to say that I'm a work in progress all my life. I need to be trained even more, but the experience of training with Axiom 4 for going on a mission to the ISS was quite different from what I had expected. The mission on board the ISS involves so many international partners and so many components to it that it is very, very distributed. And one aspect that really stood out for me was that the training is actually not consolidated. It is happening in parts at various locations. And so there would be a period of time during which you would not know the entire picture. You would know the pieces of it. And it was personally uncomfortable for me to not know the entire stuff to start with. But gradually, over a period of few months, you repeat, you go over those things, and then everything comes together and you understand the entire scenario. So I think this was a bit different from the trainings that I've had in the past, but it was very, very exciting to see and understand how a human spaceflight mission is an extremely complex endeavor, and a lot of people come together to make that thing happen. And taking this forward to our own country and our own human spaceflight mission, I think I have a very good understanding of how these things are conducted now, and I am sharing this actively with the agency back home as well, and people are excited and they want to learn more and more about how these things are conducted. So I am very, very confident that the lessons learned here during this Axiom 4 mission in the coming months and during the flight as well are going to be very well utilized by us to further our own mission, Gaganyaan. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Josh Dinner.
Hi, Josh Dinner with Space.com. My question was already asked and answered. Sorry.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. All right. We will call on Sławosz Nagy.
Hi, this is Sławosz from Space Junkie Hungary. What a great team. We are looking forward to this amazing mission. First of all, Peggy, thank you for looking after these guys, and especially Tibor. Greetings from Hungary. So the first question is for Tibor. Hungary was the 7th nation to send an astronaut to space. What does it feel like to be the second Hungarian research astronaut, not only going to space, but going to the International Space Station?
Szia, Szabi. It's an honor. It feels great. It's a huge responsibility. I know that I have towards my country and towards those researchers. It has been a great experience so far. I'm extremely honored. These responsibilities that I was mentioning are the ones that I'm happily taking, and I know that I speak for the crew as well. And indeed, you mentioned that this is a great crew and a great group of people. I think Peggy sometimes could have a hard time with us, but she's looking after us. It's great to speak with you.
Awesome. And I just have a question for all the members. So what do you guys expect from the most from the mission? Is it being on the ISS, maybe the research program you're going to carry out, the overview effect, the microgravity, probably all of these, starting with Tibor?
So we are conducting a research program. Let me just mention some of the researches that we will do. As you might know, radiation and microgravity are two of the unique selling points of the International Space Station that it can provide. We will do tech demonstrations, for example, when it comes to radiations. We will do, as you know, dosimetry is one of our biggest heritage. We will miniaturize devices. We will fly a device which is the size of a matchbox, which will measure radiation and also lots of environmental data in the meantime. It has two systems, an active and a backup system, which are really low energy. Because of the small weight and the volume and the low energy, it will be a very good candidate for future spaceflight and long-term spaceflight especially. Regarding microgravity, we are conducting physical science, but also medical demonstrations as well. There's something called SANS, Spaceflight Associated Neuroocular Syndrome. Eyes could, shift their vision as well when it comes to humans, and we will try to administrate drugs using new ways, especially artificial microfibers. So I'm excited about all of the research that we will conduct. And when it comes to the personal part, having the overview effect, I think when we will fly after basically 10 minutes after the launch pad, we will be already in microgravity. Those moments I'm extremely looking forward to. We will have two small windows in our Dragon spacecraft, seeing Earth for the first time from outer space will be something amazing. I will make sure that I will talk to you after the mission, so I can share more, because that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to share all of those personal experiences. Thank you.
Well, I guess that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us. For any follow-up questions, please send them to media@axiomspace.com. Thank you again for your time, and go AX4.